Hello, everybody. It seems like the stream just randomly went down. Coming back up here. Didn't that happen last time? Like right around 2 hours in or something?
Yeah, I think we had to restart it.
That sucks. It's gonna break the stream into two again. Hi, everybody. We just died for a second there, but we're back now. I was just in the middle of describing this character who just walked into the Scarlet Fork.
Crazy ass vest is the last thing I heard.
Okay. His gray and violet patterned shirt. His boots were at one point steel-toed, but are quite worn down. Everybody's camera is frozen for me. Am I still here? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you. We've lost your camera again, though.
Oof. I don't know what's wrong. Well, it's working on my screen. Works on my machine. A crazy...
So I just turned my camera off, and now I can see you again, Max.
Well, that's weird.
Yep.
Is there just too much data? Oh, it's slowly coming back up.
Oh, I reconnected my camera and I can see.
Yeah, if you hit reconnect, then you'll be able to see Max again.
Yeah, go to the gear in Roll20 and hit reconnect.
Yeah, I can see him
now. Anyway, he has this tattoo across half his face. And he comes in singing, "What shall we do with a drunken sailor? What shall we do with a drunken sailor?" And just marches up to the bar and orders a drink. Clara nods, signaling to you guys that this is the guy. And she leans in and says, "Hello, Captain Sutherland." And he says, "Good evening, Miss Swithrana. I would like some more, let's say, Red Dragon whiskey." And she says, "These two would like to talk to you about a project that you once undertook and did some looking into. And I'm sure that it will be worth your time to talk to them. These are the Wanderers whom you may have heard tell of." "I may have heard a thing or two about them." And he fixes you with this watery-eyed glare. Mavra and Bella. "A dwarf and a half-elf! Together at last!" And he swigs his whiskey.
Never before.
I'm glad we could oblige. I hear that you're the expert that we need to get information from.
"I am an expert on many things. The seas, the tides, the winds, trade in the Thunder Gulf, and more. They tell me I have a way with the ladies as well."
Unfortunately, none of those are the things that I need information on.
"To be honest, from the look of the two of you, you're more likely to have a way with me. You are the most stunningly beautiful pair I have ever clapped me peepers on. What can I do for ye?"
Well, I hear that you're the man to talk to if you want to get information on the Ushsak Pyramid, and more specifically, what it looks like inside.
What it's like inside? Yes, what it's like inside. Well, the two, such as you have an air of intelligence about you. I would guess that you, as wanderers, are probably interested in finding some treasure. Am I right?
Something like that. I don't want to tip my hand too far.
As as wise as she is beautiful. Very well, very well, very well, very well. Well, I know a thing or two about the pyramid, as it was once my intention to mount an expedition to see what we could, get away with. Maybe you'd like to buy me a few drinks and we can talk more.
Absolutely. And I'll just sort of nod to Clara, like, put whatever he gets on my bill.
She says, all right then. He says, Swithrana, I'm a bit dry. I'm definitely going to need the whole bottle. And she says, very well. That will be the Red Dragon whiskey, of which you are so fond. Aye, a whole bottle, if you please, and a glass. And maybe a glass for these two as well, if they'd care to join me.
Certainly.
All right. That will be our finest spirit.
Hit me, Clara.
50 pieces of gold.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, you know what? It's worth it.
Here's the bottle. It comes in a red quartz bottle. And the whiskey smells very fine and incredibly alcoholic indeed. She pops the cork and pours 3 glasses, and he immediately swigs his. All right. Well, you being adventurers, I'm assuming you are interested in certain things. But the place is crawling with masked gravekeepers that keep the place at the behest of the Rothdal family. They have rituals that they do, cycles of rituals throughout the year, and, they're always having grand funerary arrangements made for the wealthy and influential within Westhead. But you probably already knew all of that. What you might not know is that there is so much gold and other treasure and items that have been long lost to sunlight. Very interesting items down there in the old dark crypts. The place is organized as a kind of pyramid, but there is a lot more down below the pyramid as well. It is a maze, labyrinth inside, and few can navigate it. In fact, even the gravekeepers do not know all the ins and outs. So you'll have to keep your wits about you. But that should be no problem for the wanderers, I'm sure.
Indeed. I wonder if something was... It seems like a stupid question after what you just told me, but if you wanted to keep somebody there, a living person, where would you put them?
Well, it would have to be somewhere where you could retrieve them, I assume. So it would be on one of the lower levels for certain. One of the deep, dark levels. But not so far down that you couldn't get there when you needed to. Excuse me. I would guess below the pyramid itself.
That makes sense.
Probably Probably level 6 or 7.
That's extremely specific.
Well, that's as far as I was able to get, and it's as far as most of the Gravekeepers will go. But you won't see too many of them down there. They mostly stay in the upper levels, above ground, near the top of the pyramid. That's where the living quarters are, you see.
See,
The top levels of the pyramid are where most of the activity is by the living these days.
and is there a specific part of the pyramid where people are interred, or is it just sort of all over?
That's a mystery known mainly to the necropolis keepers, the grave keepers, that is. I would say that they put people in specific places according to their culture, as they are masters of all sorts of funerary rites, and everybody wants to be interred in a different place and in a different way.
I see. So if I had somebody who was interred there, would it be possible for me to visit and pay my respects? Or once the funeral is over, is it pretty much closed?
Once the funeral is over, it's normally closed to the public.
Very interesting.
And they normally do not allow much in the way of viewings except to those who are quite wealthy and powerful. And even then, you would be accompanied by a contingent of gravekeepers who would raise the alarm should anything untoward occur.
Certainly. That strikes me as odd. It seems that paying one's respects to a graveside would be a very large part of certain funerary cultures.
Well, it certainly is a way in, but it's not one I had considered in my own expeditionary investigation.
I'm curious as to what first sparked your interest in plumbing the secrets of the pyramid.
Aye, well, that would be the cursed gold.
See.
Said to still be there after it was left behind. A veritable room full of gold, left behind by none other than the Empire before last. The Empire of Ebb.
My goodness.
For when they left this world, they left behind their treasures. If you've never heard the legend of the cursed gold, well, you're lucky, for it can become an obsession.
I mean, the word curse is in the title, so it sounds dangerous.
Aye, dangerous indeed. But my hope is that the curse is mainly in how difficult it is to get. Or most that enter the pyramid other than to follow the strict orders of the gravekeepers tend not to come out.
I see.
But it does get older and stranger the farther you descend, until there are places no living thing has seen in 1,000 years and more.
I've heard that the pyramid itself predates the Wildlands and the Vea Empire and all of that. So, It doesn't surprise me to hear that there are a number of legends about ancient treasures lying therein.
Aye. That should come as no surprise. But in the end, I did not have enough backing to mount an expedition, and I've looked into other matters and paths. So you don't need to worry about competition from me.
Oh, that's good to know. Although I would hope that you wouldn't be giving this information away for free if you had reason not to want me to go in.
Oh, Red Dragon whiskey is far from free.
Well, that's true.
Now, what have you,
Well,
Miss or Mrs. or Ms. Dwarf? What's your interest in all of this? Did we lose Danielle? They may have a...
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, hello. He just said something to you. Did you...
I'm just here for the same thing.
Ah. Unless I miss my guess, you might be a bit of the muscle. Am I right?
You could say that.
I could, and more, for you look quite muscly, if you don't mind my saying so. You also have a very interesting object across your back. That green metal axe seems quite in keeping with some of the artifacts said to lie within the lower depths of the pyramid.
Really?
Aye, really. For the Rothdal family had a contingent of dwarves that kept the pyramid for a time as well. Until, of course, they fell prey to a terrible disease.
I think so.
Some say the disease came from the depths of that pyramid, when some tomb that should not have been opened was looted.
Well, people seem to say that a lot of things originate from that pyramid, but that doesn't mean it's all true.
That is true, and it's certain that the Rothdal family is at pains these days to keep up appearances. It's they stay mostly in the more recently built sections at the top. Take more precautions to put up a nice face on the necropolis. Look good. But they really go all out on the rituals. Very respectful in their way. They know all the culture's death rites, which I've already gone over.
Indeed.
But I suppose that posing as someone who wished to visit their rich dead relative might be a way inside. You'll just have to find a way to break away from the group if you are wanting to do anything more than look around in their carefully chosen tunnels.
I see.
Because they will be escorting you. Now, if you're looking for a way inside the pyramid that does not involve the gravekeepers, then, well, that presents other challenges, doesn't it?
Indeed. I wonder, I've heard that the gravekeepers are all masked, which makes a certain amount of sense to me. You know, just I can see why you might not want your identity bandied about when involved in this sort of operation. But I can't help but ask. Rumor has it that there's another group of masked individuals who frequent this place. Maybe a little bit less of a respectable funeral making operation and more of a weird cult. Rumor has it that perhaps some of the Order of the Bull are involved. I don't really know a lot of details about it, but it's one of those pieces of information that has come across our path. Would you know anything about that?
I'm afraid I do not. I don't know all the latest gossip. I might not be the right person to ask about that. But I can say that they never take those masks off. So it would be an excellent way to hide your identity.
That is an excellent suggestion. One that had occurred to me, and I'm not entirely sure where I would acquire enough masks for me and my friends.
That's a bit of a challenge. I will say that if you are considering that access to those lower levels may be difficult when the ley line tunnels are not active, and some of the tunnels may not be real, the best time to enter might be when there is a official ritual occurring, which matches, of course, the cycle holidays.
I see. That's good to know.
Those days and a few days before or after are therefore of particular interest. The Water's Way Festival is coming up that would allow them to open up those internal channels, may give you a chance to come in by a side passage if you are not interested in going in with an escort. But you would have to expect human sentries and the dead ones hidden within the pyramid. And there will also be a lot of gravekeepers there during the Water's Way Festival. So you might have better luck in the Man's Might Festival coming up.
And when is that?
In the month of Mand.
That makes sense. All right.
That
well,
is when some of them, I suspect, like to take off their masks and come to town, participate in the sporting games and such.
I see.
But yes, you've intrigued me with this talk of dressing up. I lied when I said I had not considered it, but you see, the thing is, you'd have to lie. You'd have to find a way to pass amongst them, and you'd be surrounded if something went wrong.
Indeed. Well, the lying is one thing, but the lack of information about these people is something else entirely. It seems rather difficult, understandably, to get complete and accurate information that would allow us to successfully pass as a gravekeeper. I'd imagine they all know each other fairly well, considering it's such a closed and small society.
Well, I do know their salute.
That would be very interesting to me.
Well, maybe another bottle for the road, then.
Okay. I'll summon Clara over.
He says, I would like to get a bottle of ale this time. Something, just for my nice walk home. And she asks you guys for 5 pieces of gold.
Okay, that's... Alright. I will oblige. and no money anymore.
He says, when they enter and leave the place, they gather up a fistful of grave dust and kiss it and let it go.
Interesting. Well, this has been well worth 2 bottles and extremely pleasant company. I'll be sure to let you know if we find anything down there that might interest you.
Hi. And in terms of the layout, I hope what I've said has been of some help.
It has been of a great deal of help.
Oh, good. That is wonderful to hear that I have been of assistance to 2 such lovely ladies. It's my pleasure. And I hope that when you visit your relative or so on, you have a very meaningful experience.
Thank you very much. I hope the same.
I will do one more thing for you, since this has been such a lovely time. You see, one of the levels is a labyrinth. And the labyrinth is marked with symbols. I have navigated that labyrinth, and I will send you the symbols that I followed.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome. But, a word of warning.
Yes?
As dangerous as it would be to have the Gravekeepers raise the alarm, which would be quite a disaster, there's a reason they don't go down to the lower levels. There are things lurking down there. Things of such terrible power and evil that they would, well, they might give even the Wanderers nothing more than bones.
That's a useful warning. I wonder if you heard of the butcher who turned into a demon down in the lower levels of the city prison, or the Phantom Gang and the Dread Drider who was their queen.
Oh, I've heard of them. Your resume is quite impressive. You folks are the talk of the town. So, I am certain that you will not have too much trouble on the upper levels. But remember, once you get down there are things that should not have survived, but did.
I'll take that under advisement.
That could only be to your benefit. You're not in the heartland of the Wildlands anymore.
It seems to me that as much as everybody talks about how the Wildlands is unmanaged and full of monsters, I've encountered more trouble here than I have in the entire rest of my life.
Well, keep in mind that as bad as Duke Rothdal may be, his walls, and more than walls, keep out things that might be even worse.
Perhaps.
Let me know if I can be of any further assistance. But keep in mind my words of darkness.
I will indeed.
Evil and shadow. And with that, we're going to cut back to the shadowy office where Draco and Akiri are currently located. Did you guys want to leave? It felt like we had wrapped that up, but there might be additional questions.
I don't think, for me, unless Emmy, you had anything else you wanted to do, I think we were just going to come back later when and get the disguises from Ugly Goat. So I don't think we really have anything more to do right now at Ratlord.
Okay.
So Draco would say his respectful, farewell, and...
Okay. Well, unsurprisingly, when you do return, Ugly Goat is a faun. A satyr.
A satyr, okay.
A satyr. And he lives up to his nickname within RII. That's not his real name. That's a nickname. He is an old, crabby, and quite ugly goat man, who nevertheless has this powerful pheromone that is quite heady to be around, and makes you. He's kind of like the most interesting man in the world in the Dos Equis ads. He's just got this weird attractive quality to him, even though he's he is the ugly goat.
He's mature.
Akiri is very confused.
Yeah, he's confusing. But he will provide those items to you guys. Okay, let us jump back to Typha, Vapos, Frasher, and Bref as Nua La Quinzuman returns, or shows up, rather, with the runner that's sent for her.
Nuala, I'm so sorry that we had to drag you away from your important duties.
She casts her eye over you all. And she turns and looks at Typha. And she says, thank you, Officer Rakatane. I've got this from here. These folks do work for me. We do have an agreement, and I can speak with the recruitment team about Mr. Bref's status. And he says, very well, good, get them off of my plate. She says, I cannot leave the city with you, but I wonder if you would step aside and so we could talk.
Well, of course, we're at your disposal.
You guys step away from the other officers, and she says, I don't know you. She points at Vapos.
I apologize. My name is Vapos. I have recently come to associate myself with the Wanderers.
Mm-hmm. I see. Her eyes seem to linger on your pocket. Oddly enough. She says, well, hello and welcome to this interesting group. And she...
I'll bow to her.
Everybody present, and Matt when he gets back, please make a perception roll.
I've been back for a few minutes, sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Now I get the good roll.
Ref gets the good rolls. Not on the bluff checks, though. Sorry, deception rolls. Sorry, this is 5th edition. Charisma, parenthesis, deception rolls. Bref and Typha both spot that she just flashed a token of the Calamity League to Vapos. And she says, Typha, Frasher, where is Ziklu?
We lost Ziklu.
Lost him?
Oh, he died in the sewers.
And she kind of rotates the ring on her finger.
You need a pen? I don't want you to have a pen. A shirt. She says, well, I can see that you are engaged in something important, but I would appreciate it if you would come by and give me a report on what happened with the Phantom King and what happened to Ziklu.
Once we finish, we come?
Very well. You know where to find me.
The good news is the Phantom Gangs is dead.
So I've heard on the grapevine, but I wanted confirmation on what the current status is. All right. Well, thank you very much. Did you get the target?
Oh, yes.
And she taps Frasher.
Yes.
Good.
It's back there.
All right. Well, the flying menagerie will be here within a week. You should turn it in and collect your reward then.
Okay.
All right. What are you doing, if I may ask? What are you folks engaged in?
You remember Bella, yes?
Of course. Lady Enderall?
Yes, we have reason to suspect that enemies of the city have taken members close to her hostage and may be hiding them in this pyramid. We're trying to verify, if we can, if that's even true or not, before we seek other options.
I see. Well, you should be aware then that the pirate captain, Captain LeBlanc, was spotted by the Order of the Sacred Bull leaving the pyramid recently and going and was also later spotted leaving the Duke's residence.
She really gets around. We just saw her in the desert not that long ago, quite a few leagues from here. I guess when you're a pirate lord, you could get to travel pretty quick.
Is that so? How strange. I had heard a report that she did not make the bandit moot. But that only her second... Only her first mate was present.
That's probably right. That feels like it was a long time ago.
Hmm.
In the before times.
In the before times. Well, whatever the case may be, she certainly can get around quite swiftly when she wants to.
Her influence certainly is felt all over. We've been hearing a lot about her recently.
Be careful of her. She's a thief king, you know. Many, many gangs report to her.
Well,
And why the Duke has seen fit to sign an agreement with her, no one will ever be able to know.
We'll certainly stay on our toes.
All right, be careful out there.
I appreciate your help. I don't have the best way with words and paper.
Right. Well, keep that transformation under control, and see if you can find a cure. You do not want to get picked up by a recruitment team right now. They will not listen to me.
Yeah, I don't really want to fight in a war.
I assure you that is true. Especially not any of these wars that the Duke is starting to distract from his position. Anyway, good luck out there. And she goes and signs you guys out. She says, remember that whatever you do will now be associated with my name.
We understand. Thank you very much for your assistance in this matter.
I like you. You guys should keep him alive, she mutters as she walks away.
Thank you, Nuala.
All right. You guys have made it out of the city, which proved to be a lot more difficult than you expected. Now, here's the fun part. When you get out from under the walls of the city, that pyramid is big. As big as a mountain almost. It is far away. It is a day's travel to get there. So you hopefully have some supplies. And this will be the first time that Lindsay, Corey, and Matt have experienced what used to be the core experience of this game. The Overland Travel house rules. So, the way that this works is, you guys set out on this paved road near a city. So you should be able to have a fairly safe journey, but nowhere in the Wildlands is really safe. And every journey comes with a certain amount of peril and challenge. Rations will do some of it. You know, there's all kinds of other items you can have. For every items that can help you make camp, like a tent, a bedroll, stuff like that, will assist you. You should let me know when you guys make camp, and that will assist you in staying safe when you make camp. But making the journey is in itself a challenge. So you leave the city. From the outside, Westhead, you leave you start to leave the fog behind, and from the outside, Westhead appears to be overcast with this thick, dark cloud, like the cloud of rebellion and tyranny hanging over it. And I need to ask, what direction do you guys head out in?
Towards the enormous pyramid.
Yeah, do we need to make a survival check for that one?
Looking at the map, I would say to the northeast.
All right. This path will take you on a wide paved road, so it won't be as difficult as some other trips through the Wildlands may be. But then again, if something goes wrong, who knows what could happen. So, there are 3 of you. So,
4 of us.
There are 4 of you. Okay, there are 4 of you. You will only need that will make traveling that'll make traveling a little bit different. So, than with a full complement of party, because it's based on party size. You can now declare how you assist the party in traveling swiftly and safely. What pace do you want to set? You can go fast, normal, or cautiously.
I mean, I don't feel like we're in a big rush. I would say probably normal would make the most sense.
Okay.
I think normal too, but I do have something I'd like to add. I think like the big, scary, armored guys, she's kind of concerned, like, ooh, are they following us? So the first thing she's going to do when they get outside of the city gates is she wants to cast Pass Without Trace, which is going to give them a bonus to stealth and undetectability for an hour.
Okay.
So to get them a ways away from the city.
Goodbye, the man with no screen name. Thank you so much for watching. We are about to wrap up the session very, very soon here, but that's excellent. So Taifa, so the way this works is each of you has the opportunity to contribute to helping the party travel swiftly and safely in some way. And if you pipe up and try to contribute, you automatically get 1 temp HP that lasts for the day, unless used. And there will be a roll associated. The DC dependent on the challenge involved in this particular journey. So to travel from one hex to an adjacent hex is a day's travel. Which is important for some of you who have secrets, in particular. Distances in the Wildlands are generally given in terms of the day's number of travel. The number of days travel. So you will need to get 2 successes before you get 2 failures. And Taifa, when you cast a spell in order to contribute, you're going to mark off the spell on your sheet. And you are going to make an Arcana check with advantage to see if you can use that spell to good effect.
Wow, thank you, advantage.
Advantage. All right. So that means, ba-bum, you get a check mark on our. You guys see the parchments over here. So you get 1 success, and Typha, for jumping in to help, you gain 1 temp HP.
Cool.
So you guys set out from the city, and with the landscape around the road mostly swathed in this fog that is fading as you leave it behind, you leave the city and you're immediately in forest. And Typha, as the leaves rustle around you through the mist, pass without trace, and your steps are mostly silent. And everything is mostly silent as you leave the city of Westhead, bustling behind. You soon get into the rhythm of the quiet forest. You are in the Armadan forest. And the creatures and rustling of the leaves around you are the only sounds, although it's mostly quite a lot more quiet than the bustling city. Who else wants to try and help you as you leave no trace behind you, traveling out on the road? There are other travelers occasionally passing by, and you suspect from the lights up, you can see in the distance that there are still more that may have... oh, you wouldn't see the lights because it's still daytime.
Vapos is going to cast Create Water to make sure that we have plenty of supplies for this trip, since it seems like Frasher was not well prepared for coming on this journey.
Cool. Okay, so you're gonna provide supplies to the party, or are you just doing that so that Frasher has?
I'll provide them for the whole party. I can create, I think, up to 20 gallons with Create Water.
So you're gonna try and stretch out the supplies and kind of make it easier. I'm trying to decide if that is worthy of a roll.
Sure.
You guys get to pick. I should have said this. You guys get to pick how your character can contribute and make a pitch for whatever skill you want to apply.
Gotcha.
But that will keep Frasher in water at least, and he can snack on some of the other rations, which is all of you are going to have to use up a ration.
Well, Frasher doesn't really want whatever dried meat and things these fine other people have been carrying. So he's actually gonna keep an eye out for like game and try to he's got a longbow, so he's got pretty good range. If he just happens to see like a rabbit or anything like reasonably small.
All right, survival check.
Cool.
Whoa.
How about that?
Well done.
And is this contributing to the party or just for Frasher?
I mean, I think it was originally going to be for Frasher, but he apparently took out like an entire pack of deer.
Well, what would be Frasher's or your Matt's dream scenario in terms of a hunting excursion along the way?
I kind of picture like he's just kind of keeping an eye out as we go, and just like every few minutes he just is firing off like a shot into the woods and like running over and bringing back a rabbit. So like we've got like all this like fresh fresh meat available now.
Cool.
Like to a ridiculous extent, like just like to the point where everyone's like, it's like, how in Oregon Trail you get to a point where you're like, just stop hunting because you can't carry all the meat back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that.
Yeah. All right. So Frasher, you can actually add 1d4 rations to your sheet as you are able to harvest enough meat and dry it on the way. Very nice. So Frasher is in meat, so you are good on that score. Now, what else are you guys doing to travel swiftly and safely?
So I've had a lot of experience in my days as a sailor of being able to tell the difference between actual good, honest traders and people pretending to be traders and secretly harboring banditry. And so I'm going to keep a close eye on all the people we pass as we go along to make sure that we aren't ambushed by a seemingly innocent passerby.
What skill are you trying to use?
I was thinking perception.
Go for it. Keeping a close eye out, you definitely you're going to get success. You're going to get 1 temp HP, and you are going to spot. You're going to warn the party against anybody who seems like an untoward group of characters. Go ahead and roll a D57 for me. D58, actually. All right.
45.
Well, because you are keeping such a close eye on all of these people, some ways from the pyramid, you notice a circle of stones, old standing stones, that offers an excellent view of the pyramid on a hill, a clearing in the forest. And there's another group that has made camp there that you were eyeing to see if they were dangerous. But they don't look dangerous.
It's okay, guys. Everything's on the level.
All right. Do you guys want to... all right, you make it to the pyramid. You have, as the day winds to a close, the sun is setting. You have arrived at the Ushazak Pyramid just in time to witness an astonishing show of lights and chanting and drums beating up on top of the pyramid. There seems to be a pyre lit, long orange flames stretching up toward the sky. It's like a wild bacchanalian festival up there. And you can hear this crazy, voices shouting and all these interesting things happening. There's a large... there are several groups camped around near the pyramid, perhaps awaiting their turn. To have their own funeral. It's an absolutely amazing sight.
And so we can picture this. Is this like a stepped, pyramid? Or is this, you know what I mean? Like almost like an Aztecian pyramid? Or
Yeah, it's a sort of a squat. Well, it's not exactly squat, but it is quite tall. But it's also much wider than it is tall, and it has these distinct levels climbing up toward the heavens, and it is the size of a mountain. It looks like it was built of stone blocks that are much too large for any normal-sized person to move around, and it's hung with these eerie spirit lamps that cast the whole thing in this glow. And curling up from the forest are these jungly vines and trees that have grown up the sides of the base of the pyramid.
and is the front like guarded in some way, or are you able to just simply walk all along the perimeter of this pyramid if you wanted to?
Um, there are guards of a sort, but it looks like they are mostly posted at the doors and large steps that are around the sides of the pyramid. There are various camps, as I mentioned, and they may have their own guards.
And is the forest like encircling the whole pyramid? Like, is it forests on all sides?
The thick, old Armadan forest is all around you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could turn into my cat and climb the trees and go look around the pyramids and see if there are ways in.
I think that sounds like a good starting place.
Very well. That makes sense to me as well.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the rest of us can try and find a place to camp for the night. Is there like a landmark, like an especially large tree or something I can point to and say, like, look for us over around in that area?
Bref starts looking for a large tree and finds one, calling to him. An enormous, impressive, hollow trunk that stands not too far from one of the many entrances to the tremendous pyramid. As he beckons you guys over, Bref, you feel your skin crawl. An oily cold descends on the area, and a voice speaks. My son, at last you come to a place sacred unto me, where we can speak, and perhaps you can give unto me that which thou owest me. The rest of you see a pair of smoky wings and a crown emerge from Bref's skin like a black mist, and his eyes darken, the pupils widening until they are all black. And that voice that he hears in his head comes out of Bref's mouth. when he steps into the hollow tree. And with that, we will end tonight's session. Thank you all so very much. This was a huge amount of fun. I am going to wrap this up quickly. But thank you all for going late. Thank you, Kate. You're awesome. Well played, Bella. Special thanks to you. I hope she heard that. I think she had to drop out because the baby was losing it. So we may have to revisit our time, but we'll see. Thank you so very much to everyone who came by and watched, and everyone who watches this later. You are an awesome human being. Thank you to Jeremy, player of Breath. Thank you to M, player of Akiri. Thank you to Danielle. Welcome back, player of Mavra. Thank you to Nico, player of Draco. Thank you to Corey, player of Vapos. Thank you to Matt, player of Frasher. And thank you to Lindsay, player of Typha the Third. You are all awesome humans as well. And I'm really looking forward to our next session. With that, and the voice of the shadow, we are going to have to end for tonight. I look forward to chatting with y'all in the Discord and elsewhere. Have a good night. Have a great week. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.